Hello and welcome to episode 127 of Gamers of the Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Chesson, and joining me this week, it's the other Spark on the pod. He's fresh from his retro gaming tour of Canada. It's Mr. James Thomas.
Hello, Anthony. How are you doing, sir?
I'm not too bad, sir. I'm not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, good. I've just about got over the jet lag. We only got back 2-3 days ago. Or it probably seems longer now. It's the post that sort of time where holidays seem to happen months ago, but you think it's only a few days. Like you get back to work and it's like it never happened.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I think ours have got back to normal. The first night back here, like I like going away, but your own bed. Nothing can beat that. So I think we slept for like 13 hours the first night back. So the 6:30 start the first day back for work was a bit of a rude awakening after that as well. So
your alarm goes off and you're just like, I hate you, because your buddy's still probably like, this is the middle of the night in Canada time.
Well, the bunnies go away for a special boarding place, and we swear they like it more there than here. So it's.
They've written you a letter. Say, can we go back there, please? Can you have more holidays?
Yeah, just the weekend, just day trips. It'll be fine. Because they have this really nice shed where they put them all. Like each set of bunnies have their own shed that's got this little floor section where they've outdoor, so they can have a bit of fresh air. But to one side, they have like an alternating set of shelves that go up to about 6-7 foot.
Wow.
So the bunnies can obviously hop up and just enjoy a bit of climbing, a bit of jumping. But every time we've gone to pick up Berry, she's been there at face height. So you just walk in and she's staring at you. It's like, this is slightly disconcerting.
Superb. Yeah. So have you thought about constructing that at home? Having that?
I have. Honestly, last time we went round IKEA, I eyed up a Billy bookcase and thought, if I just get 2 of those and like put them together and just alternate the slats, that could have the same effect for probably a fraction of the price. But
yes. Well, it was really funny, actually. I was in Manchester the other day, and one of the guys who works with the Manchester office, he was showing me his YouTube channel, which he's got like 3 house cats, and the cats have like this climbing frame that's on the wall, and it goes all the way up to the ceiling, and the cats just kind of make their way up to right up to these kind of platforms. There's like a scratching platform and one they can lay on and they can jump on. I just thought, how cool would that be if you're a cat? You've just got this constant climbing frame. So it was really cool. It was like, Paul was just like, check this out. And I was like, that's just so cool. You know, your cats must just love it. And like you say, you walk into the room and they're there kind of face height, just like looking at you. You're like, yes.
I guess if you could make a feature of it as well, it just like blends into the living room at that point. So.
Indeed. So how was your holiday? Did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was good. We went over for a friend's wedding. They moved out to Toronto last Easter time, and we haven't seen them. Well, we haven't seen them since then. We've spoken to them a few times, so it was good to get over to catch up. But even nicer than that, there was quite a lot of old work friends that were out there as well.
Oh, right.
Someone travelled from as far as Australia, but then we've got a few chums who still work over like Seattle, Vancouver, Toronto way that made the comparatively short hop over to Toronto. So yeah, it was wedding and then a nice little reunion as well.
Oh, that's really cool. That's fantastic. And as like I say, as I saw from Twitter, you kind of did come back with quite a nice retro stash. I would say.
I think
that was impressive.
I think we saw everything that Toronto had to offer, probably in terms of tourism. Like, I'm happy that we ticked off the big boxes for Niagara Falls and the Tower and things like that, and all the big things. But most importantly, I did find out they had 4 retro game shops scattered around within walking distance of where we were stopping. So. Ali wasn't feeling too well one day, so I used that day as my mission to go around at least 2 of them and just tick off. And they were a couple were really quite cute because they were effectively just stalls within larger areas, so they were quite niche, almost like the size of someone's bedroom more than anything else, just stacked out with retro stuff. But the most impressive one was twice the size of any game that I've seen in Britain. It was huge. I mean, they padded it out with like a board game section and trading card section, but it was primarily dedicated to love of retro. So when I'm just faced with a couple of bookcases worth of NES stuff, it was amazing. So yeah, I think it was because Ali wasn't there when I went round them. That's why I came back with about a dozen and had problem packing my suitcase. So
it's superb. You had no restraint or no one to go, James, do you really need that? Do you really need that?
It was a bit at the back of my head. Was the only restraint was the suitcase. Like,
right.
It was gorgeous weather out there. It was like high 20s for most of the time, but people had said the weather had been up and down, so I still packed like jumpers and jeans, which I didn't need at all. Well, they took up valuable cartridge space, which in hindsight I should have just burnt them and leave them there outside. But
just gave them to a homeless person. You need these. I need more consoles. That's so cool. So you bolstered your collection by about tenfold or about 10?
Yes. I now need less than 100 to complete my European collection. So
wow. So were these European SNES games or NES games?
They're games that have been released in Europe. I am not overly picky about which formats I get them on, but since I bought the Analog NT. Was it last year, the year before? If I can get an NTSC copy, I will, because then I can get it easily through HDMI onto my telly. So yeah, actually going to the States, it's probably cheaper in a lot of situations as well. But yeah, I spent one of the days over the weekend dabbling with a few of them as well. Actually, one of the ones I was really excited to pick up was called Air Fortress, and I don't expect anyone to have heard of this one because there's a lot of chaff on there. There's a lot of chaff. But this was from Howl Laboratories, which are the people who do Kirby and work with Nintendo a fair amount. And I was surprised at how good it was. It's like starts off with sort of like a Gradius style side-scrolling spaceship shooter, but the power-ups you get from that you then take into the levels into a bit more of a Mega Man style game. So yeah, it's a nice little sort of like alternating of styles but what things count from one to the other.
Right.
And there was one called I can't remember what it was called. The trouble of buying so many at one time. But it was a weird game that I don't think I've seen before in any style, where you selected a tower and then put like large cannons next to it. And weirdly, you were fighting pirate ships. So your cannons had to try and destroy the pirate ships in the bay. And then if you won, you got more resources to build out your tower a bit more. And if you didn't, well, this was a game from the 80s, so you're just stuffed. So it just gets harder and harder. But it's nice, just weird tactical build your tower, shoot the ships, build the tower, shoot the ships. For as many as there are really average platformers on the NES, that's because that was the staple back then. It's really nice when you find something different like that tower building game, or when you find really something just really instantly playable. Because I picked up a couple of SNK top down shooters as well, and yeah, they are not only good, but that you can instantly jump into them without feeling like you have to spend hours getting used to it. So
right.
I got a reasonable haul this time. The gods smiled upon me.
That just sounds so cool. That just sounds awesome. Excellent stuff. Yeah. So, it's quite a nice segue. If you kind of break into kind of maybe what you've been playing, because you played one of the most awesome things I've heard of.
To give the listeners some context, when I booked this particular event, this was on the day that Ali wasn't feeling too well, so I just went off and not worried too much about it. I simply posted the receipt of what I had booked, and you could hear the meltdown that was coming from Mr. Chesson, the other side of the pond, because I booked myself into the Ghostbusters VR experience in the Void. And for anyone who can't remember us, because I know we covered this a long time ago, this isn't just any VR experience. This is a VR experience where they have actually tailored a physical area to match the in-world experience. So for anyone who's ever leant or tried to lean on a desk in VR space and fallen through it, well, this would not happen in this Ghostbusters experience. For the doors are real, the walls are real, and oh my God, Anthony, It was literally amazing, and I sound like some sort of teenager. Oh my gosh, it was totes amaze.
You're still gushing. You're still gushing.
It was still good. So they set you up as a Ghostbuster, and you have like a proton gun.
Yes,
it's something out of Laser Quest, but it's to all effect like it's a portable proton pack. And they strap you in, and it's the whole pack is filled with like the rumble pack, so you can feel it as you go through. But they sell you on it so quickly, because they set you up in like the little kit room again, like in Laser Quest. You're like, you get ready, you can go in, but without even telling you to do it. Like, you're there with the mask on, and they say, "Okay, go in," and you just instinctively turn and open the door. And this is what VR should be. You reach forward and you open the door, and of course there's tactile feedback because it's a door. But just that essence of like, this feels real. You step in, and then you go into like a little apartment, and I have to admit I did go on twice because I was so gushing the first time I instantly booked a second one.
So when you're there, you can see a door in VR, and then you put your hand out to open the door as you do in VR, looking stupid. But you're actually they've timed it, and they've got the distance right that you're actually opening a door. Yeah. Holy moly! That is awesome.
It wasn't even just the door. Like, I managed to grab the door handle, and it was.
Oh my god!
It was just superb. And then in the next room, it was like a small apartment, and there was a TV in the corner, and a small armchair, a little sink or so. And the first time I went in, there was tiny little ghosts, tiny little sprites buzzing around your head, and I was like, I don't care about you. I'm just going to look around the apartment. And they had such nice touches. Like, the air conditioning was it's falling out of my head now. Igor the who's the Carpathian?
Yes, Igor.
Yes, Igor. The air conditioning is from Igor Carpathian Industries.
Oh, right. Oh, superb.
Just tiny little Easter eggs all around it. And eventually the ghosts start swarming you, so you have to get the blaster out and start swarming. And then things start exploding. There's bowling balls on shelves. There's, like piles of paper that explode around. There's a TV that pops. It's a physics demo at that point that you're in the middle of. But it's grand. And then the wall explodes and you have to go through. And it then gets a bit scary. They try to play with the tension as you're completely in the dark, and then you get in a lift, and it just keeps getting better and better. I don't know how much you want me to tell you of this, because do you want me to hold anything back?
No, go, because I as much as it's not really a spoiler, but I must admit, since you after you went on it the second time, I then did Google. I kind of Googled where I can get hold of this, where I could jump on it, and I found that it's in Madame Tussauds in New York, and I'm going to be there in November.
Oh, cool!
So I'm just like, I need to go there. I need to do this, because it even just. Listening to that, it just sounds like you say. I think it's kind of, as you said, it's like it's how VR should be. That's what VR really should be. So, was you there on your own? Are there other characters?
So you could have had 4 people there, but at the time of day I was doing it was around lunchtime, and it was at midweek as well. So it was just me at that point. And personally, I really preferred that. And I think if you went with friends, it would be different. But I didn't want to go with a bunch of random strangers that could, mess up my perfect Ghostbustering. There were 3 of the pack, so I think you could go through together. And I'd be interested to find out how the spatial coordination in VR would work, because I'm guessing the suits are rigged up with enough sensors that put. I briefly caught one of the the assistants who was trying out one of the other packs. I briefly caught that there was an avatar representation of them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it could get a bit snug in some of those areas.
Yes.
But so you go up in an elevator, and then do you remember Darren talking about how there was a VR experience of just walking out on a plank?
Yes.
It pretty much does that.
Oh my god!
A ghost blocks a doorway, and the only way out is to walk along this window washing plank of wood that's outside the window, and they have fans blowing, and there's a tiny bit of moisture in the air, and there's obviously some speakers far off in the distance that give you the sound of the streets way below, and it just sells it completely. Like, even the temperature drops to make it feel like there's out exposed. And it did make me think twice about stepping out on it. There was part of me going like, I know what games do. Is this ledge going to give way? And so thankfully it didn't, and I don't know if it's because I did, destroyed the baddies at the right point in time, but it was incredible. Just that sense of, oh my god, I feel like I'm up high. This is the first VR experience I've had that, not vertigo, but that sense of height that you could see why people could freak out.
Yes.
So you go back into the apartment. There's a bit more ghost busting of the main bad. And then the Stay Puft Man rips off the apartment roof.
No way!
I just lost it at that point. Because you go from seeing these tiny ghosts that are about the size of the tennis ball that are spinning around you. You get that great sense of immersion, I guess, because they are whizzing all around you at that point. So you have to turn and spin and check where you are. But then it goes to the complete opposite side about, I think, what you were talking about with the Moss, the mouse game on PS4.
Yeah.
Well, I think we both spoke about then that VR in that situation gives you that great advantage that you feel small, you feel really within the environment. And just meeting Mr. Stay Puft did that to me. Just the sheer size just towering over me was absolutely incredible.
Oh my God.
So yeah,
that just sounds so cool. I guess when that happened, I bet you just kind of, the first time it was just amazing. It was
it was even good the second time, right? Even though I knew what to expect. Well, at least I knew at least
you were ready. You were ready. You were like, I'm looking, I'm waiting.
The second time, they must have thought I was a bit weird because I just kept looking out of the edges or something, and then trying to peer around corners just to make sure, just to see what else I could see. But I enjoyed it so much. As soon as I came out, I went straight to the desk and inquired about another booking. So
that's so funny. That's just so awesome. So did Slimer make an appearance?
Oh yes. There's a great use of you've been to sort of Disneyland and been to like the 4D experiences where they have the seats that rumble and they spray water in your faces.
Yes.
Slimer was like a more realistic version of that. Because he charges down a hallway at you in traditional Slimer fashion, and then the belts and the straps and the harness just keeps rumbling, and then something just sprays in your face, and again it just feels like cold and clammy. It was good. It was good.
Oh, I love that so much. So, are you wearing headphones in this experience, or you just got sound all around you?
The heads, because it wasn't a Vive, it wasn't an Oculus, it was their own custom stuff.
Yes.
And the headset came off and on really easily. It was like the best VR headset I've played with. It's probably quite similar to the PSVR in principle, in terms of that you pull it forward, pull it up, but far better, I guess, build quality, because I guess they can throw more money at it.
Yes.
But the headphones were all built into it, so it was an all encapsulating sensory experience.
Wow, that just sounds incredible. That just sounds like, I bet you were absolutely buzzing by the time you got back to the hotel, and there's poor Ali not feeling very well, and you're like, I've just been a Ghostbuster twice.
I was just skipping. It's like, I just basically texted, I'm going again.
She's like, okay,
yes,
whatever. That just sounds, I have to check that out. Like I say, we're kind of going to the US in November, so I just have to check that out, because it just sounds so good. Because I think it's in London, isn't it? But it's up in a couple of weeks. I think one of the guys in the WhatsApp group was basically saying it was in London, but it finishes like next week or something like that.
Yeah, well, I was talking to the guys behind the desk to try and get some technical info, because they wouldn't let me look behind the door without my headset on. And it's like, I just want to see how you mark it up. It's like, they wouldn't let me.
Did you use the phrase, "Do you know who I am"?
I know people. But I think they said it's going to be replaced by Star Wars later in the year, or at least this one was, because I guess there's only so many times that idiots like me want to go on it twice.
Yes.
I guess eventually they've got to get that new experience in. Saw a bit more of MDF. I don't know. Get some plywood Death Star in there, and away we go.
Yeah, no, I have seen the Star Wars one. I've seen there was a trailer for it, it looks like it's at the end of episode 3 when they're on that planet that's all the lava planet, when they're there. It looks very much like that, so I don't know if they can incorporate some heat or something like that. So
is it just every time Anakin starts screaming no, do you get to punch him? Is that okay?
Yes, just repeatedly, and just he was like, okay, we need to move on, sir. You need to move on. Stop punching him.
Suffered enough.
He hasn't apologised to me, but yeah. So, oh my god, that just sounds so cool. That just
I guess it's
ruined VR for you now. Is what it's done.
But I think, because I've had really good experiences with VR in the past, I think this is why I was down on the PSVR and other experiences to a certain degree, because there's always a boundary. And I know this is a ridiculous thing to say, but if you're going to have it in your home, if you're going to have it, at work, in an office, or even any space, there is going to be a limitation for it. And so you're always going to be worried about either making a fool of yourself, walking into a cupboard, like smashing a light shade, something like that. But this was like all of that just disappeared. Like, knowing you're in such a safe space made you appreciate the VR for what it was so much more. And I think it's going to be almost impossible to get that as a home rig. So it's probably what I'll do arcades for more in the future. Like, give me more of that.
Absolutely. So it was, I guess the quality was really good, the kind of visual quality in the headsets and the HMD. We haven't said that in a while in this podcast. The HMD quality was good.
The unit itself was immaculate, and I didn't notice any problems with the visuals. I think it was that good balance of being high res enough that you didn't concern yourself. Because even the details on the air conditioning the Carpathian badge, I felt I had to get close to it because it was a small thing rather than because it was a small texture.
Yes.
So the fact I didn't realise or didn't even take notice, I think, says it was good enough.
Yeah, absolutely. You're blowing my mind, James. You're blowing my mind. Superb. So what other non-VR boring stuff have you been playing?
It's downhill from here. Actually, it's not. I've been playing Yoku's Island Express.
Okay.
And I started...
Is that on Switch?
It is on the Switch, yes. I think it might be on other things, but I really can't be sure. It's an interesting one that I actually seen in the eShop, I think, before I went away, and just dismissed it as another... It looked like another cutesy platformer type thing, so I just walked past it until I saw a tweet from one of the journalists I follow on Twitter, and they were saying it was an amazing mix of pinball and Metroidvania-style platforming, which instantly intrigued me, because I do enjoy pinball. Like, one of the things I did when I was out in Toronto, hunt out a pinball arcade. So, tick that box as well. And Yoku's Island Express is far better, even than I think that tagline of, pinball and Metroidvania I could ever imagine, because... It is a maze of puzzle and a fun way to move around the world as well. So you're an ant or some sort of insect that's pushing a ball for reasons. So effectively think like a dung beetle, except far more polished and cartoony. Yes. And you rock up on this island to take over as the postmaster for the various beings and creatures that live around there. And there's obviously something going on, because the previous postmaster, who happens to be a pterodactyl, again winning brownie points for me, basically just says, I'm leaving. Stuff's happening. Sort it out, please. Laters. And there, you walk into you sort of roll over to the village, and there's one of your village friends, or soon-to-be friends, is being hung upside down by some weird big monster. But it turns out the monster is some sort of god that looks after the island, and he's been attacked, so he's not himself. And the story is just weird. Like, you keep meeting weird little creatures, and who all have problems in the same way that I think you would in an open world adventure. Sometimes tiny creatures are being attacked by other creatures. Someone's lost their baby. Please, could you find my key? It's got an open world essence about it. But the way you pretty much solve everything is through pinball. Wow. So this wavy, undulating world, every now and again you'll pop down a tunnel and you'll find you and your baller in a pinball table. But it's not a traditional, here's a big rectangle pinball table. It's made out of the rock and hewn around some of the geographical niceties of the area. So it could be a big wet thing, or it could be like a dusty desert, and it's themed to the area. And there's always some sort of hook in there. It's not just a case of get a high score and get out. It's usually like trying to play a feature on a pinball table, where you've got to get the ball up into a certain area to unlock a certain path that might lead you to another area that you've got to hit a few times that will then unlock keys, and you've got to collect all the keys that will unlock your way out. So it always is interesting, because it's never... there's certain aspects that are repeated, I guess, like unlock the key to get out. But they're always new and varied approaches, because they don't stick to a pinball table style approach. And sometimes you can get tables that are tiered, like you can get from one side to the other that will fall off into one to the left, but it's never arduous. It stays around for long enough just to be interesting and fun, and then you're onto another section that's more platformy, but rather than jumping you've got to use the pinball buttons as well, and it just keeps itself moving. And there is enough depth in terms of puzzling and adventures and trying to figure out how to unlock new talents to get around, that just keeps it fresh. It's that classic Metroid area where, like, okay, I've now know that the place I need to go is underwater. How do I get to the underwater bit? But going along that path then takes you to the desert area, which allows you to get a skill to do something else, and then suddenly you can unlock the ability to stop falling down the bottom of pinball tables and protect yourself. It just keeps going and keeps giving, and it's the kind of game I can spend 15 minutes or an hour on. It's that nice pick up and play aspect. It's really good, really good. I thoroughly recommend this.
Wow. I just had a quick look, as you were saying, because I was trying to visualise what the game would look like, or what the kind of game space would look like. Yeah. So I just had a quick Google while you were talking, and just drawing me into this game and thinking, I've got another train journey tomorrow, I might download it tonight. And it just looks fantastic. It really does look kind of very kind of like almost like Pixar kind of esque kind of character-y kind of model. It's very cool.
Yeah. It's I can't remember if I said this right. It reminded me of some of the screens I saw of Dragon Boy that was also released on Switch earlier this year. But it definitely is. It's very much sort of like watercolor pencils, quite soft approach. It's not a hard cartoony pixel art. It's almost Dark Crystal areas in certain respects.
Right. It looks fantastic. It looks so. Have you completed it? Are you still kind of going through? Is there lots of
still going
gameplay?
Through? I think I'm probably about 5-6 hours in.
Right.
And other people have probably completed it by now. At one point, I got horrendously lost, but enjoyed myself on the way.
Yeah.
But I can see myself not necessarily going back to rinse all the secrets and the challenges and the tips or so, but there are definite areas that I want to explore before I call it quits on this.
Yes.
So even if the credits roll, I want to figure out how to get X, Y, and Z.
Oh god, that just sounds so cool. So that's so Yoku's Island Express. So you think you're playing it on Switch, but it may be on kind of other platforms too.
Yeah, I could be lying about that one, but the quick Google, what platforms are you on?
Have you just been playing mostly in kind of handheld mode, or you're up on the TV with the controllers, or?
Bit of both. Right. Handheld mode, this has been very good. Like, again, if Ali's watching some telly, I can play this, or if I take it up to bed, have a quick bash before going to sleep. But equally, it just looks very nice, and so definitely suited to the television.
Fantastic. No, it is actually on Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and Switch.
Ah.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, definitely worth it for the train journeys.
Excellent stuff. Yeah, though I'm playing a lot, which I'll get to in a moment. But it's something fresh. It's quite nice, isn't it? Just to kind of play something fresh for the journey. It's quite nice.
Yes, yeah. And I think this is. I was talking to someone at work the other day about this, and I've completely bounced off of God of War. I think it's been a while since I've been on the pod, and I've been trying repeatedly to get back into God of War. And as much as I like the combat and the open nature of it, I've sort of bounced off the boss fights more than anything else, I guess, because they're a bit more set. I think one of the reasons I'm bouncing off it is because I feel like I've done it before. It might be a supremely polished version, and might be a supremely good version, because I know how much Manny loves it. It's the best of this sort of game. But I just feel I've seen that game before, and I think this is why Yoku's Island Express has completely taken me, because it's new. It's just new and interesting, a different twist on a formula that I already enjoyed. So, yeah.
Oh, superb. I'm going to check that out. After the pod, I am going to have a look on the Nintendo eShop. And how much is it? How much is it on the...
I think it was about 15 quid.
Oh, wow, that's really good. It's a bit like kind of like I was playing. I think I was talking about it last week. PixleJunk Monsters, and that's kind of always around the same. I had some Nintendo coin to spend, so it kind of took it down a little bit. But that's a nice kind of little chunk of a game to just kind of be playing for a couple of hours, or the train journey, etc. I do like that the Nintendo eShop is full of those gems.
Yes, yeah, it is starting to get a bit more like the Steam store in some respects, because I had a friend who actually got a game released on the Switch a while ago called Raging Justice, and I can't remember. I think it must have been like 2 weeks before I then picked up my Switch to find out how it was doing. I thought, let's see, a couple of weeks after, how's it going in the charts? And even if you sort it by release date, the amount of titles that came out in just 2 weeks on the Switch is terrifying.
Wow.
It's getting to that like more than one a day point, and I worry about the quantity over quality in some situations. But I think every store's had that after a while.
Yeah, indeed. And then they just kind of rethink it after a while, how they can recurate it, or they can give, kind of our picks of the month or things like that, and they to try and make things bubble up. The important games, not that I'm saying not every game is important, but you know what I mean, it's the more kind of like the AA or the AAA games kind of bubbling up. So, yeah, no, that's really, I mean, like I say, I didn't even know last week the PixleJunk Monsters was getting a release, and it's just the fact that I happened to check on the Nintendo eShop because I was downloading Mario Tennis Aces, and I was like, "Ooh, PixleJunk Monsters!" I didn't even know that game was coming out, and it was there, just 3 rows down, and it was just, and I was like, "Oh, I like those games, and that would be really good fit for handheld." And it's
have you carried on playing that this week? Then have you stuck at it?
I have, yeah, because my on the Switch right now, I'm playing Pokemon Quest, and I'm also playing PixleJunk Monsters 2, and trying to get into Fractured But Whole as well. But this week, kind of on the journeys, I've been into London already twice this week, and I got one more tomorrow. So I've been kind of a good hour and change journeys, and I've been playing PixleJunk Monsters because it's really funny because you start playing it, and then you have to get 2 perfects, so you can't lose any of your little characters that you're trying to protect with so you have the path where you can set up your towers, and then right at the end you've got like a little tiki hut, and there's like 20 characters there, so 20 kind of creatures you're trying to protect. So if you lose any of those, you don't get a perfect, and it means that you can't progress to the next level. So you get 3 rounds in each level, and you need 2 perfects to progress. So it really does, like, you are kind of harsh. It is. It's kind of like I lose 1 because I wasn't really looking over there, and so you might as well just instantly just like kind of restart, and I kind of had to do that on a few of them, but I've now got about 4 or 5 perfect, so I'm kind of getting through it and because I've been playing it regularly this week, I'm really getting into that groove, and that's why I'm firing up Pokemon Quest, playing a little bit of that, doing what I need to do, almost my daily stuff on that, but then I'm jumping into PixleJunk Monsters and really enjoying it, even though it is hard, it is taxing. It's great fun. I forgot how much I love tower defense games. I really do. Just like, there's something about that kind of setting up a path, I do like tower defense games where you can make your own path, where you can almost kind of lead the enemy down like a path of destruction, as I used to call it. So you actually lead them, but this way there's already a predetermined path, and then you just kind of set up. But trying to find that right mixture, that right recipe to get you through those 20 waves, I just absolutely love it. And it does a great thing where if you stand by a tower, I might have talked about this last week, but if you stand by a tower, you start doing this little dance, and as you're doing this little dance, it's charging up your towers, it's leveling up your towers. So that's really cool little animation just to watch, especially when you just click a button and you go into like 3rd-person mode, so you can see your little tiki guy kind of doing his dance, and that's just like fun to watch. And sometimes you're like, right, I need to upgrade this using one of the eggs that's dropped, but I also need to do a dance because I need to get this to level 4 ASAP, and it's things like that. And you try a mixture of all the different towers. They've got Tesla towers and all the different kind of configurations. It's about just trying to get that right one, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's such a great game. Like I say, I think it's about £13 on Nintendo eShop, and I paid about £9 because of the Nintendo coin that was available.
Money back.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just well worth it. I've got hours of fun, and Nicola's playing it as well, so she's got it on her Switch and she's enjoying that. Even though it's quite funny because sidebar, I got Nicola a new iPad of the weekend, and it's one with a pencil, so she's got like an Apple Pencil, and so it's just so she can kind of like draw, sketch out, add when she's doing like kind of like mood boards for when she's decorating rooms or whatever. So we got the pencil, and then I said, oh, don't forget you can also do colouring books, and she was like, oh, what how would the colouring book work? So I downloaded the Marvel colouring book, and so I was like, just check this out. But the cool thing was, and we're kind of flicking through, and there's lots of kind of, there's lots of just normal artists. They're great artists. It's all black and white. And then we get to a chap called Scotty Young, who I absolutely love. Scotty Young. He has this kind of cartoonish look about his characters. You know, he's done X-Men Babies, he's done Wizard of Oz, The Adventures of Wizard of Oz. One of his own is I Hate Fairyland, but he has such a fantastic art style. So I said, "Oh, what about these?" And she was like, "Oh, I love this." So she started colouring in, and that was it. The switch went down, and I lost Nicola for hours. You know, but the thing that she's doing is she's colouring in as you do. But what the great thing about the iPad Pro is that you can do split screen. So on one side, so 3/4 of the screen, she's got a Marvel colouring book, and in the quarter, I've found pictures of how these should look. So
cool.
She's kind of doing the colouring in, but then she's also shading, which is like extra. So in the Scotty Young ones, they've all got shaded, and there's all kind of little enhancements to the picture, and she's doing those as well, and they just look incredible. But it's
nice.
I think she was up to about 2 a.m. on Friday, the day she got it. She was up to about, because I came back from Manchester and I went, "I've got you this," and it was like, yeah, and I set it up for her, and then literally she goes, I went to bed about 2 a.m. You know, she's just colouring in
new toy syndrome. Yeah,
exactly. But it was like at the weekend, whenever I was like looking for her, she was just somewhere quietly just colouring in, and it was just like, "Oh, I've just started a new one by accident." So and it's just really cool. I recommend, if anyone's got like an Apple Pencil, to just kind of try out these colouring books. They're really cool. They're really, and the one thing is she's got quite a stressful project at the moment, and it's calming. It's really kind of like, it's calming. It's taking her mind off it. It's very gentle. It's very creative, which is obviously stimulating the mind at the same time. And she's just absolutely loving it. You know, she's probably there now while I'm podding downstairs colouring. I can feel it happening.
Sounds nice and soothing, doesn't it, as well? Just being able to. I always found that when sort of doing art, or just even going running at lunchtime, just removing yourself from your usual grind and just blocking out your brain to do something.
Yes.
Completely out of left field as your usual day. That seems to tick those boxes.
Absolutely. I said to her she should take it to work and do it at lunchtime, you know, just like kind of for a moment away from work and then do it then. But yeah, so we've been playing PixleJunk Monsters too, and then I've also been playing Pokemon Quest as well, which is that pixelated one that Steve and I were talking about last week, the free to start Pokemon game.
Has it been, now you've started, is it still free?
It is still free. I don't have to. There's expedition packs that you can buy, but I'm just going, I'm making recipes, I'm attracting more Pokemon, I'm now kind of leveling them up, adding to their skill trees, and then just basically going out and fighting. And at the moment, I've had once where I got kind of all 3 Pokemon were defeated, so I had to start that again, so it sent me back to the camp and I had to do it again. But then I just kind of rejigged the inventory, got another Pokemon, and then off I went, and I kind of managed to get past that one. So I'm just, it's very just kind of nothing. It's very soothing. It's fun, you know.
This is your colouring book.
Yeah, exactly. This is it. So Nicola's colouring, and I'm just sitting there playing Pokemon Quest. But you do have to kind of mix up the Pokemon, and then kind of make sure they've got the right. There's hit levels, and there's also their health, so you make sure you're putting as many hearts as you can and leveling up their different attributes by then taking them out, and then they kind of move around the world on their own, but you have a little bar at the bottom, and I'm finding it's better if I use touchscreen on the handheld. I don't know what it would be like on the TV, but I'm using touchscreen. And then you just have to say, right, use this attack and wait for that to cool down and kind of come back. And then so you're just chaining attacks together with your 3 Pokemon and trying to just go around the world. And like I say, you're cooking, a bit like Zelda. You're cooking, making recipes that attracts different Pokemon, and you can then take them out. So it's just, I've just been, like I say, playing it for probably about 10 minutes a day, and so far I haven't got bored. You know, I'm just like, oh yeah, this is quite cool. It's quite nice. It's almost like I have a ritual now to go through Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, have a look and see what your good lady wife is up to in her strange world. And then just come away.
The still continues.
Yeah, it does indeed. And she's like Joan of Arc right now, and it's just like she's the suit of armour, and it's just, so I go there, have a look at that. I think that's weird, and then I do some dailies on that, and then I do some Pokemon Quest dailies, and then the rest of it's PixleJunk Monsters. So it's a really good mix at the moment.
Yeah. So you've played Pokemon Go as well, haven't you?
Yes.
Yes. I guess I almost find it strange that they've released another free-to-play game, because this Pokemon Quest is coming out on Android and iOS at some point as well.
It is.
Do you get the feeling that this is a compliment or a replacement?
Well, I mean, based on the Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go Pikachu that they announced last week, I think, that's Pokemon Go is going to be very much in that mechanic. Yeah. So I just think it's an enhancement almost. It's like, it doesn't really connect to it, but it's just a strange little add-on, and it's interesting that it's come out first on the Switch, and then it will be coming out on the iOS and Android after.
Yeah, I do like the fact they have chosen such a unique art style for it as well. It helps avoid the ambiguous nature of, I guess, two Pokemon free-to-play games on our platform. It's like, which one are you playing? The portable one or the square one? So.
Yeah, or the blocky Minecraft one. But yeah, I'd be really interested to see how it takes on when it kind of comes out on iOS and Android, because I'd be interested to see what the take-up is. But yeah, no, I'm just enjoying it. It's just fun. It just seems like a little fun kind of game. Cool. So, and then the last thing I've been playing on the Switch is I played Mario Tennis Aces over the weekend.
Oh, yes. How did you find this? Because I adored the N64 version and then didn't give two hoots about the last one that came out because it just seemed to be the death rattle of the Wii U at the time.
Yes. I mean, I really enjoyed what I was playing. The great thing about this beta that was online is that it took you through a tutorial, and the tutorial was quite meaty as well. It took you through, it didn't just say, oh, here's a few things. This was definitely, if you're starting this game when it comes out later this month, you need to kind of go through that tutorial, because it just gives you everything you need to know to do the advanced shots, the easy shots, and it just takes you through, and you can continue to practice, or you can move on to the next step. And I really enjoyed it. When I saw that direct a couple of months ago, I wasn't too sure, because it seemed like it was very involved, very convoluted.
I didn't know if it was... I couldn't tell from that point whether they just had made a really bad trailer. Because I think we commented at the time that they just seemed to be explaining tennis to us.
Yes.
And not just like the quick Wikipedia header article, the entire page was being read out to us at that point. And if you do this, you hit the ball, and there's topspin, and there's backspin, and then there's 15 love and 30 love, but it could be 15 more. It was just awful. So I'm happy to hear that at least that's translated to something slightly more meaty rather than just a list of tennis strokes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the power-ups and the specials that you kind of manage to kind of get your bar up, and when that starts to glow, they are just so cool. It's almost like a quick time event, but you have to time it right. You have to get it kind of dead on, and it's just fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I played quite a few on kind of AI games, because you could play against the AI, so I was enjoying that. Also kind of went online for some tournaments as well. I think I got to the semi-finals on 2, but then there were some really good people that were they were characters that I didn't even know were in the demo, like Rosalina and Bowser, and they just really just kind of cleaned my clock. I got beaten by Luigi, which I was going to take a screenshot and go, damn you, James. But it was good fun. I played as Mario, and I really like playing as Mario. I tried to play Yoshi for a while, but I just couldn't get into Yoshi. I seemed to be missing all the cues all the time with him. So I was enjoying Mario, but it's gone from I'll check this out to I'm downloading this now, because I just think it's going to be a fun, similar to you and kind of like Yoku's Island Express and those and PixleJunk Monsters. It's going to be great just to jump in, on the train, or just kind of just sitting around on the weekend or whatever, going, I'm just going to have a quick tournament and just play. It was it was a beta, and it definitely showed. I think there was one game that I had to abandon because my character just wasn't moving. The guy on the other side was just fired, like Bowser fired some really decent serves, and I just wasn't moving at all. So there's definitely some issues that needed to be, but it didn't detract from the fun, and it looks absolutely gorgeous as well in handheld mode.
Cool. The question I've got for you: did you encounter King Boo, or even Boo?
No.
Because I remember him being the scourge of the N64 version, because I think he had a sort of a hook shot where it would basically swing out to the side of the court and then come back in and almost go parallel with the baseline. And I can just remember that being hellish to play against. Like, if you got it right, it's proper banana shots.
Yes. Wow. No, I didn't, but that sounds cool. No, he wasn't one of the characters that kind of popped up in the beta, but it was really good fun. It was really good. Like I say, I'm definitely definitely going to buy it when it comes out. So that's kind of what I've been playing. The last game that you've been playing, I'm quite looking forward to your update, because you've been playing some more. You've been out on those Seas of Thieves.
I'm still playing Sea of Thieves, and I still have to feel like this isn't an advertised section. Honestly, I am still playing this out of my own enjoyment, because the first advertised content drop appeared with the Hungering Deep, and this is the smallest of the ones that we've sort of like promoted. So it's like to give us time to do more, and it's a bit more of a traditional quest. So you pick up from the quest giver, and he gives you some clues, and then you have to follow these clues around the world. So you probably have to go sailing throughout all the regions, and then use your noggin to try and piece together some puzzles, and then get back and hope you can cooperate with some other shipmates. There's enough vagaries, but the end long shot of it is that you have to fight a giant shark.
Wow.
And throughout the dev process of this little section, I've tried to stay at arm's length. Like I've helped out in the structure, but I tried to stay very much away from the specifics. Like, what does the quest do? Like, how do I finish this quest? Like, I know there are books, but I don't know where they are or what they say. I know there's a shark, but I don't really know how it fights. And I had such a whale of a time. I brought together 2 different crews that I've been sailing with off and on. So a friend from America and a friend from around the corner, so about as far away as you can get. And yeah, we just had a hoot. We went to islands that we've never been to before. We teamed up with a random group of strangers to help fight the shark. And the shark is the megalodon, like a massive, massive behemoth from the bottom of the ocean that came up and just tried to chew us in several pieces. And we just kept running out of resources. We thought we went properly tooled up with like hundreds of cannonballs, dozens and dozens of planks of wood to stop the water coming in. But it's once you start getting on the wrong end of Meg, then she beats you down. And so we thought, okay, we've done a fair amount of damage to her the first time round. The ship respawned halfway across the map, grabbed a few more resources, and let's get back to her. Let's come on. She must be on her last legs. Let's see if she's still there. Let's see if we can finish her off. So we were charging halfway across the map, the wind in our sails, trying to get her. And then the sea went black. And out of the depths came Megan's friend, Karen. Karen the Kraken went, no, you're not going to be mean to my friend. And so she just grabbed us, and we were there like, we don't want to use cannonballs on you. We need the cannonballs for Megan. So we're just there, just like poking and sniping and slashing. And it's like one of our friends on the boat was, this is the first time I've seen Karen. It's like, no, this is not the time. There's Megan as well. So we were just basically getting caught in a fight between 2 massive sea creatures from the deep. And eventually we got free. We sailed the rest of the way over to the square. Like, we can't see her from a distance. And then out of nowhere, up she came, reared, and started attacking us again. But all 4 of us lined up on the cannons and went, come on, this is it. First salvo, all 4 of us fired. Some of us hit, and then Megan went. She died. We must have been killed the first time we got shooed away from her with like about 5 HP left or something ridiculous like that. Wow. But it was just like that stress, that panic, and then that relief of dashing halfway across the world just to try and finish her off. And there was proper jubilant cries from everyone on board. It was they put us through the ringer, emotional ringer that evening.
Oh, wow. How long did that take you? Because you kind of did it all in kind of one setting, didn't you?
Yeah. I think we were quite lucky with timings, because we did it in just over 3 hours.
Right. And
like the initial questy part, we did in probably about 2 hours or so. Right. It was like sailing back and forth. I think, given the experience of the people I was saying with, like, all of us knew the world quite well. Mm-hmm. So when clues came up, we went, aha, we think this is this. And so went there. And then the actual battle, we were quite lucky, because you need more than one ship to take part in the battle. Mm-hmm. And as we were sailing into the port where it all starts, another ship was sailing into the port where we all start. So yeah, we're all very nicely timed.
Yes.
But we've fallen in love with the speaking trumpet. So one of the new toys is the speaking trumpet that allows you to throw your voice far further than before. But for whatever reason, not quite sure why, whenever any of us held up one of the speaking trumpets, we felt compelled to talk like a 1920s newsreader or gangster. So I was like, read all about it. Megan surfaces from the deep. Read it. Extra, cannibals here. couldn't talk normal. It started out like a telephone voice. I don't know if ever you pick up your mobile, you either talk slightly louder or slightly less with any accent that anyone might possess. But it just went one step further with the speaking trumpet. I don't know where the people we were fighting with thought we were from, but
that's just so cool. It's like you turn one of those like Fallout, the Fallout Pip-Boy kind of things. It was like that. It was like a Bioshock. That just sounds so cool. Oh, that was just so cool. Oh, I love it. Because like Steve and I jumped on Sunday, but we only had an hour because Steve had started his new job. I needed to get up early. So we're kind of playing. We found Merrick, who kind of starts he's a very funny character and starts the mission. We're like, yeah, we got this. And then we worked out the first riddle, and then we realised we've got to kind of say, we're like, we're not going to be able to do this in an hour. We were like, no. So we ended up abandoning it, but we got the first clues, but then we ended up abandoning it and going for just doing some quests, doing some skelly quests instead, but it was good fun. Like Steve and I were just kind of in a sloop. I think it was the first time he'd been in a sloop as well, so it was quite cool. So it was good fun. Normal, as you can guess, we were crashing left, right, centre.
So how was your parking?
It was towards the end when we kind of were turning in our skulls. You would have just died because we just I think we parked it on the island, or I parked it on the island. So
no, if that's your cash in, if that's the last one, that's completely acceptable. Headlong and then drop the anchors.
It was so funny because I was then kind of taking skulls off the ship and putting them on the beach just so the ship didn't sink, and like that's poor Steve still trying to bucket it and repair it so we can get all our loot off. So when you defeat Meg and Karen, do you get like extra XP and stuff? Do you get like some goodies?
Along the way for defeating Megan, you get a couple of things. So it's basically to I guess push in a couple of new toys to you. So first of all, you get the speaking trumpet, which allows you to obviously communicate with other people. When you complete the first part of the quest, I think you get the drum and a new set of tattoos, because tattoos are new in this batch as well. And then when you defeat Megan, you get a very fancy figurehead for your ship as well. So toys all along the route.
Fantastic. And then because we got the speaking trumpet, so the speaking trumpet and the drum that you've got, they're yours to keep now. Yes,
they will be with you forevermore. And I think even if you don't get them now, there will be ways to get them in the future. So
awesome, because the Hungering Deep finishes before E3, doesn't it? It's kind of.
Yeah, I think as we were saying before we started, E3 seems like it's over already. But I think it's this week is the last week. So it'll be like our patches come out on Tuesday. So you've probably got till next Tuesday.
Right. Till just after the Microsoft conference, which is on Monday. Very excited.
Watch and play along at the same time.
Yes, indeed. A second screen experience. That's just so cool. Anything else? Have you been playing anything else, James?
No. I have honestly just been. Before I went away, I was honestly just hooked on Sea of Thieves, just trying to get to Pirate Legend, and so I am.
Where are you now?
You what? Sorry.
Where are you now in your quest for Pirate Legend? What's your stats?
High 30s for the Gold Hoarders.
Right.
I think low 30s for the Order of Souls, and then mid 20s for the Merchant Alliance.
Right.
So,
right.
I think I've resolved that I will not get there anytime soon, so I probably just need to pace it out a bit more. So actually the release of Yoku's Island Express is going to help me by meaning I just don't start. Every time I sit down, I don't start a pirate ship. It's a great place to be, enjoying the game you work on. But I need, for the sake of this podcast, I need to play other things. This is why I haven't been on for the last 6 weeks, because I've just been playing the same game.
I've just been playing Sea of Thieves, but no, that's really cool. We need to do some more. We need to do some more Spark voyages, because that was good fun. Because I'd like to, as we were saying, I think we were saying last week, Steve and I, we'd like to kind of be with you, get you to that kind of legend, kind of get you there. We'll try and get there after. I think I'm 20 across the board at the moment.
Nice.
So I'm like, I'm still bare chested. I still refuse to wear clothes. But yes, but it's just so much fun. It's just
the wind against my nipples.
Exactly. It's just like, it's just so lovely to jump on. Okay, but before we jump into the news, as E3 is kind of getting closer and closer, we had an email in our feedback at gamerslostspark.com. We had an email from Max. It basically said, "Hi Sparks, Max here from Saskatoon, Canada. Canada. Hope I said that right. First off, thanks for the podcast. It's a great Saturday morning listen. Max, you're welcome. And then he was also saying that he loves the mix of the Sparks, how we're kind of mixing it up on a weekly basis. But he has a question for the team. Obviously, the team is just you and I, James, today. So he has a question for the team. So with E3 a week away, what are your predictions, hopes, and dreams for the big event? So in typical kind of Spark fashion, we've done it before. We thought we'd just have some stupid predictions and jump into some predictions, some crazy, some hopeful, some wishful, and just kind of really, I guess we've set ourselves 3. So we've set ourselves 3 each across any of the platforms.
Mainly because most things have leaked already.
Yes.
Sorry, Max. It seems that Walmart have taken away your fun.
Yeah, but thank you very much for your email, Max, and we are indeed, as with you as well, we're looking forward to E3. So I'll kick off the predictions. So and we'll kind of revisit these in our E3 show, but my first prediction is that Battle Royale will be everywhere. Will just be in every game. In Roku's Island DLC, it will be battle.
100 pinballs enter, 1 leaves.
Exactly.
Multi-ball!
Battle Royale will be in everything. And it's quite interesting. One of the podcasts I was listening to, they were saying, they kind of got me excited about a prediction, which was Halo. Halo Battle Royale. Now, I think that because the Master Chief Collection will be coming to PC, is also getting a 4K HDR kind of tart-up as well, which is coming out very soon. I kind of have a feeling that they're going to be pushing this as a way to kind of kick off Halo again, kind of get the fans behind Halo, because it's been a while since we've got 6, and that there will be a Halo Master Chief Battle Royale mode. So that's kind of my prediction, is that it's kind of 2-part really, that Battle Royale is going to be everywhere and everyone's going to be jumping into that. Division, obviously we've already got Call of Duty and Battlefield, etc., but Halo, maybe even Gears, but Halo Master Chief Collection will get a Battle Royale mode. I can
definitely see Halo more than Gears. I think just the pacing of Gears doesn't suit, I think, the 100. It might, well, I say that, then I think it's slower pace is a bit more considered, and so is a bit more like PUBG. Mm-hmm. But the way things like Fortnite and I guess Call of Duty are going, Halo seems to fit more than the others. Do you think there would be vehicles involved? Like how would a Ghost or even a Mongoose just change that formula completely?
Absolutely. I think if you're going to do a Halo Battle Royale, you have to do that. You have to throw in all of the Halo vehicles, all of that will go into it. I definitely think you're going to get that. You'll be able to pick characters, whether you want to be from the UNSC or you want to be on the Covenant. You can do that and then just kind of jump in. Absolutely. And I just think, being able to maybe find a Ghost and then taking it into the middle and flying it, similarly as you can PUBG, I just think that's going to really, that's definitely a Battle Royale that I would love to jump into.
Yeah, I would definitely give that a go. There's a lot of things that have pushed me away from the genre, I think mainly because I'm just not a big online shooter fan anymore. But Halo I have legacy with, so I can 100 people on SWAT.
Yes,
that would be good, and over so quickly.
But it just, some of the Halo maps are already quite large size anyway. So with that formula, it would just fit so well.
Big team battle, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's a prediction. We haven't really heard anything from it, but it's just kind of reading what's out there and what's coming. It just makes sense that something like this would kind of come to this platform. So that's my prediction, which I'm getting myself excited for. That's my prediction 1. James, what's your first prediction?
So I really want another Hitman.
Yes.
I think they've definitely milked this one for as much as they can, because I swear that it's on its 3rd ultimate premier fantabulous edition release, and fair enough, they swap publishers, so you can't blame them, but I think it's time. Even if it's a trailer, I want Hitman 2, but I want more than Hitman 2. I want Hitmen.
Oh.
I really want to see multiplayer in this thing, because we go from one extreme to the other. We talk about Battle Royale with hundreds of players, 100 of players in there. Just having 2 assassins within Hitman, I think would be superb, because you're going to have the ridiculous nature of Hitman means that you can just engineer situations, and the joy of it is that it's such a precise clock that even if the situation goes wrong, you can learn what happens. There's like safe areas they go to. Maybe the guards react in a certain way. So for one of your colleagues to then be ready to pounce on that new situation, maybe be waiting in the safe room, ready to go, maybe just like be nipping things off at the pass. I could see a lot of great tag team situations unfolding for that. And of course, you just have the very obvious who can kill the other person first. Or not, who can kill the target first.
Yes.
So I think just adding... obviously, this is a massive engineering feat, but adding a second assassin into that world, I would adore. So this is my prediction. They've been teasing that something is coming, and I'm going to go with multiplayer.
Nice. So you'd be against each other to get to that target, not co-oping together?
I would prefer the co-op. I would prefer the co-op approach, but I think as soon as you have two people in a world, of course you're going to get the competitive mode as well. But that co-op angle where, you're just walking around dressed as clowns armed with explosive rubber chickens. It's like, this needs to happen with more than one person.
Oh my God. Do you imagine 4 of us playing that? That would just be... Obviously, we'd have to be controlled, and we'd have to have a leader. So
that rules you out then at that point.
Yeah, I won't buy it. Don't worry.
I've run into the wall with a plastic explosive.
Sorry, I fired at that barrel just for fun. And it's just like everything... We've seen me play The Division, but that just sounds so cool, because there have been some tweets, hasn't there, from WB Games and Hitman that there could be something kind of incoming on Thursday.
Yes, I think this is... I think they need to do something. I mean, the Hitman, because it was just called Hitman, the reboot, the rebranding was such far and above, I think, the best game they've ever done. Mm-hmm. I think to put out another one would feel like treading water. So I'm hoping the couple of years that it's been since we waxed lyrical so fabulously about it, that they've tweaked the formula or just extended it. I'd be very happy for like another six maps of the same quality, but throw that in as well, and away we go.
Excellent stuff, superb. My second prediction is that EA, on Saturday, we've got the EA conference, as well as showing things like Anthem, I said we're going to see a new Star Wars game. So we're going to see more than just a couple of devs talking about it and then someone walking out of a doorway. I think we're going to see a game that's set in the numbered universe, i.e. the episode, and it's going to be out in time for episode 9. And
when is 9, sorry? Is it next year? Christmas?
It's next December, yeah. So I don't think it will be Battlefront 3. I think we're actually going to get a game that's going to tie into the movies, and we're going to get a substantial chunk of gameplay, because EA have that Star Wars license and they can't just keep abusing it and just locking it away for no one else to play with. So I feel that we had the Amy Hennig game. Amy Hennig has now kind of stepped away from that, but I do feel like that game has been officially scrapped. But I do feel that EA are working on something, and we need to get a kind of maybe single player, maybe multiplayer, but there will be a Star Wars game that will be out in time for episode 9.
I agree, there must be something, especially if it's just to allow them to wash the bad taste out of their mouths from Battlefront 2. And yes. I hope in some ways that it is a compliment to Battlefront 3 that is probably in the works somewhere for some other time. But it feels like because what was the game? I'm horrendous with that tonight. The Star Wars game that was on the Xbox 360 that was actually really quite good. There was third
Force
person
Unleashed.
Force Unleashed. Yes, yeah. That was probably the last good single player Star Wars I can remember, and it was just fun. I think it didn't take itself too seriously, which is why I managed to get on board with it. And but they actually gave a fair chunk of time away to it all, and I think it's far too easy just to keep on going back to that Battlefront well. And if they do want to expand and maybe stabilise the horrendous Yes, fest that was Battlefront 2's loot box scenario. Maybe that a single-player campaign is the best way to repay fans at that point in time, immersing themselves in a universe whilst not getting shot by American 12-year-olds.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, let's say the Battlefront 2 single player, I really enjoyed that. My only criticism was maybe there was a little bit too much flying, just because I was instantly upside down and not knowing where I was going. But that's just my own inability to fly, but it was great fun, and as you say, immersing yourself in the Star Wars, especially now with the way that consoles are rendering graphics, the way that they look, it's amazing to play. You do just kind of get lost in that universe, and it's such a rich, amazing universe that it's just nice just to kind of play in there. So I kind of think that we're going to have something special. Kind of sidebar on that prediction, BB-8 will be on stage, and they're just like, it would be so cool if they had like Anthony Daniels as C-3PO and R2-D2 roll out. That would be amazing. But definitely there's so that's going to be, I think EA is Saturday. So that's my prediction. What's your second prediction, James?
So my second prediction is that as everyone keeps chasing the virtual console, I think Nintendo are not going to necessarily give people it, but they are going to try and hand people some of the content they think they want. And I think part of that is going to be more ports, right. Whether it be from the Wii or the Wii U. I reckon we'll get a number of announcements of larger games. Because the announcement of, here's the SNES, here's the N64, I don't think that's going to really cut it on stage, especially if the rumours of the N64 Mini are to be true. So I don't think they're going to go anywhere near the N64, probably for the next 12 months with the Switch. So that leaves the Wii U, maybe bringing back Galaxy, maybe bringing back some more Pikmin.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I think they ported Pikmin from the Wii to the Wii U and added touch controls. So having Pikmin again with touch controls on the Switch, that would be superb. So I think they're going to bring back some classic retreads in classic Nintendo style, selling us the game for a third time.
Yes. I quite like the idea of playing kind of like Mario Galaxy without the waggle. That would be quite cool.
Yeah.
If they can change the control system so you can play it in a handheld and not waggle away on the train, I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, and I think it would fit well into the schedule because they've got Mario Tennis that's out quite soon. They've got the Splatoon DLC, which is, I guess, going to be a beat for them in the autumn, and then they've got Smash Brothers nearer Christmas. So this could be a fair chunk of content they could drop after Christmas, maybe to tick them over to Easter. They'll probably do another Nintendo Direct sometime in the new year, maybe saying what's coming this time next year. So I think it could be a good filler for their schedule.
Yes, because I like what they're doing with these ports. Like Toad Treasure Trackers is coming out.
Oh yeah,
and that's got some extra stuff in it, hasn't it? It's got some Mario Odyssey levels and things like that. So it's got some extra content goes in there as well. So I quite like that they kind of port, but they add a little bit extra too. Yeah,
to be honest, for some of those games, I'd be happy with a port, but just slightly cheaper, please.
Yes, absolutely. And then my third fun prediction is I kind of have to have it because every year I'm always chomping for two games, and they are a new Batman game from Warner Brothers. So it has to be. We have to have something. Warner Brothers games has or Rocksteady, who do, I always get Rocksteady and Rockstar mixed up. Rocksteady, who do the Batman games. Batman would be very different if it was Rockstar.
He would get destroyed in Vice City.
He really would. Nico would just, and then so they have been teasing. They have been teasing a lot of mocap because they got a new mocap studio. They've been teasing a lot of people. There was one where you had about 7 or 8 people standing there, so that kind of got me excited and thinking Justice League. Could we be having a Justice League game? And so they've got to be doing something. It's got to be that time that we get a new Batman, a new DC game. I kind of would like it just to be more Batman, but because if you do Justice League, how are you going to do Flash? How are you going to do Superman? So if they do a Justice League, I'd like to know kind of how those mechanics are going to work as well. And then my final fun one, and it wouldn't be a Sparks E3 prediction without this one. I'll keep an eye on James. It's Viva Pinata 3. I will be wearing my Viva Pinata t-shirt as I do every year. So Matt, if you hear this before E3, I'm wearing it this year because he had it on last year as well, and I think he quickly took it off. Not mine. He didn't have mine on. We didn't have a moment that where it got awkward. So Viva Pinata 3, or the one thing that's missing in all these remasters, remakes, up-res is Viva Pinata. So it's time for a remaster of Viva Pinata on the Xbox One X enhanced. And as I've said, and you need to probably make your colleagues aware, James, that if the new Viva Pinata is announced, I am running to Twycross to hug people on a Monday morning. I'm like, thank you. Are you on Sea of Thieves?
He's coming.
I'll be like, you on Sea of Thieves? It's a good game. Keep going. Viva Pinata. Thank you. Hug. So fist bump. Here's some donuts. It'll be just. But yes. So I just thought I'd throw that one in for fun. That we get like an up-res or a new Viva Pinata game.
Would you accept? And I promise you, I know nothing. So if the overlords are listening and this is true, please don't fire me. Would you accept like the 360 back compat upscale to 4K? Because they've done that with Gears, they've done that with a few other games. Would you accept that with Viva Pinata?
If it was Trouble in Paradise, yes, because I've still got some achievements. I've got some racing to do with you, and I've got some encyclopedia to fill out.
Trouble in Paradise should be... I mean, if it's either one, they should choose that one, because it's the better game.
So. Yes. So if that was it, then I'd be, yes, I would just be fine. I'd be saying that I'm incredibly sick and taking some time off work. And I'm like, sorry, I've got this flu. It's terrible.
If it's the HDR, then just the head explodes at that point. Imagine those colours.
Oh my God, it's so cool. I fired up, I've got Coco, 4K HDR Blu-ray of Pixar's Coco. We're saving it for Friday for movie night, and just seeing that, a Pixar movie in HDR, in 4K HDR, was gorgeous. And instantly, because the scene I jumped into is so colourful, my mind instantly went to Viva Pinata. Like, how amazing would a garden full of Fizzly Bears look if it was in HDR and rendered in 4K? And I was just sat there for a moment, just thinking. I just sat there, like looking. I was just like, wow. But yeah, so I think yes, I'd be absolutely happy with something like that. But just because I have some achievements to tick off, so I could just go through that all over again. But yeah, so that's my 3 fun predictions. James, your last one.
I think my traditional one that I try every year, because I hope more than anything else, is I want the Animal Crossing. Please give me the Animal Crossings. And I'm actually more hopeful than I've ever been right now after the Pokemon announcements the other day. Because if they can announce after Pokemon Go did so well, that they can then put 3 different Pokemon games out into the wild within about a year, then if Animal Crossing has launched and done well, which according to my wife and you, it's doing well, at least for the hours spent on it appears to be doing so. So I'm hoping that this extra emphasis, this focus on Animal Crossing means that there is one in the works. So even just a trailer, I will take a logo, I will take an appearance of Villager and a Smash trailer just to show signs of life, but please give me an Animal Crossing.
Oh, that would just be so cool. And it would be nice as well to see some characters and a level in Smash as well. Because the level that you saw in Mario was one of my favourite levels in Mario 8 Deluxe. The Animal Crossing level, the different seasons. It would just be so lovely to see Animal Crossing on a Switch, to see it switch between summer to autumn would just be amazing. Would just be incredible. It'd be, Stardew Valley does that so well, but Animal Crossing would just do it to just times 10. That would just be amazing.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even be that concerned if the formula hadn't moved on that much, because as much as I did enjoy Stardew Valley, there's a nice simplicity, I think, about Animal Crossing. There's a point where I think, like you were saying earlier with some of the games that you're playing on the commute, you can turn the brain off, and it's not so much a routine, it's like a comfortable feeling while you're doing that. And Animal Crossing has always have that. Like, I can just absorb myself in it for half an hour to an hour a day, and it just feels pleasant doing it all. It's never going to win Game of the Year for its new tactical combats revolution where you take down Nook with 100 different Nookettes or something. I don't know. Oh my word. Do you reckon...
Battle Royale
in Animal Crossing. The bloodshed. Oh my word.
But I just think, kind of going back to kind of setting your alarm because you need to do something in Animal Crossing. It's just those kind of fun mechanics that just makes that game just amazing, doesn't it? It's such a great game.
It's a different way to play.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, that would be so cool. Just to hear that theme tune and you'd just be... Oh, that's Monday, isn't it? E3's Monday. Nintendo is Tuesday at 6 p.m. UK time.
Yeah. That's almost going to be if they play the theme tune and then launch into a Smash trailer, like they did with the Splatoon trailer the other day. That might end me. That might just push me over the edge.
You'll be like, yes, and then just want to just die.
And then just burnt on the grass is the Smash Brothers logo.
Like, why? But no, that would be really cool. Excellent stuff, superb. I'm really looking forward to E3. I'm looking forward to kind of jumping in. I'll put something on the show notes. I'll put a link on the show notes to the timings. I found some really good kind of graphics for the timings for the different shows because it kicks off with EA, and then we've got Microsoft, and then there's Bethesda, Ubisoft, etc. So I'll stick those in the show notes. If anyone wants to know when they are, I've already put the alarms in my calendar just so I don't forget. I think it's Saturday at 7 p.m. is the EA, which is the first one. So we'll have more about that, I guess, next week. We'll kind of break down all those E3s.
Find out how well we did.
Yes, indeed. Right, so that's enough of the predictions. Let's jump into the news. But before we start the news, don't forget you can rate, review, and subscribe to this very podcast for free on iTunes and also YouTube. So in the news section this week, the countdown to E3 continues. Plus, we have more Pokemon and Battlefield details. James, the first piece of news, is with you.
Yes, and we are starting straight away with Battlefield. I think, again, pushing away from the Battlefront shall we say, palaver of last Christmas. EA and DICE are continuing to basically beat their drum of there are no game-changing microtransactions. Like cosmetics, if you want to buy a shirt, I'm happy with you on that one. But they are revealing more about what is going to be delivered throughout the course of the year as well. So there's not so much a season pass, but there is an evolving journey, say the DICE representatives. And half the reason they're doing this is they don't want to... fragment the player base. So rather than going with multiplayer options, they're actually trying to tack on single player experiences throughout the lifetime of the game. And I really like the sound of this because this is the kind of DLC that will get me more involved, I think, as time goes by. Because I've always been wary about putting down money for season passes when you think half the content is going to be, here's another multiplayer map. Don't really care that much about it. But what Battlefield 5 are offering are basically themed experiences throughout the World War. So I guess they haven't really been that specific, but they say there will be assignments or grand operations and missions. And we're taking it that they mean along the lines of the tutorial that they've had over the last couple of years, where they try and put you into different times, into different vehicles, just to allow you to experience snapshots and unique missions. I think this is quite clever, not only for the lack of fragmenting their multiplayer core game, but also because it allows the designers to try out just new things every couple of months. They're not stuck to a set campaign. They're not stuck to a set area. It allows them to bounce around and fill out the tales or just even the gameplay experience that they want to tell. But it's not just these isolated instances. The player themselves will actually be able to have a certain amount of progression through them all, because every one of your instances, everything that you do, will actually be tied to a company. And a company is a selection of customized soldiers, weapons and vehicles that you can then, in theory, bring back into the main game itself.
Oh, right.
So I guess they will be skins to a certain respect to keep with the doesn't influence competitive play. But the fact you can have this battalion that you're building up through this set of content, I guess almost like a Dirty Dozen, going through recruiting.
Yes, I like it.
Vehicles and players. I mean, some of this is speculation, and as we keep saying this episode, we will find out more at E3 next week. But yeah, I was just really taken with their different approach. It's not necessarily bold because other games have done it, but the about face from how they've done it for the past 4 or 5 games is impressive. I think this is going to go down well with certain quarters.
Absolutely, that sounds like a great way to kind of get in, and also, like you say, to set it apart from the likes of Battlefront, to just say how different this is, and which I think is their job this year, isn't it? To try and say we've learnt our lesson, and this is very different.
Yeah. You know? Without saying sorry, we're very sorry.
Yeah, exactly. That will be like a subliminal message on the EA stage on Saturday. Sorry, but that just sounds so cool. So, do you think are you tuning into the EA conference? Will you watch it later on? You don't need to watch it live, or
it depends how I watch it, because one of my favourite ways to watch I basically like to watch the big conferences like the Xbox, the Sony, the Nintendo pure. I want to experience what they're saying firsthand. I will probably watch the other ones if I'm around with a talk track, like someone like Game of Greggy or Giant Bomb. I will watch their feed of them commenting it as it goes, because I don't think I'm that tied to that publisher enough for it to warrant an hour of my dedicated time. Whereas actually some flashbacks, some opinions, some talk pieces, that will be the thing that gets me watching those conferences.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so cool. The next piece of news is with me, and that's still kind of E3. I think we're just going to be E3 all over this podcast. And that is that the countdown, Sony's and the PlayStation countdown to E3 has begun, and it's begun today. So Sid Schumann, who is the social media director over on the PlayStation blog, stuck up a blog post, I think yesterday, to basically just say that they obviously have the conference that's kicking off on the 12th at 2 a.m. for anyone in the UK, but on the countdown to that, and every day from today, they're going to be releasing details on a new game. So it started today. So the game that they've announced today is Tetris Effects, which is a PS4 and PSVR Tetris from the creator of Rez. So that's Mizuyachi. He's like I say, he's the creator of Rez, Tetsu Mizuyachi, and he is basically kind of bringing out a new bonkers-looking Tetris game. Did you see the trailer? You saw the trailer. I think I sent it into our WhatsApp group, and it's crazy, isn't it?
It's basically Tetris, but if you were hallucinating, which I don't know how well will help Tetris itself, because I think for the first 2 minutes of this 3-minute trailer, they don't actually show you Tetris, which is fair enough. Everyone knows Tetris, but they talk about how everyone loves Tetris. They talk about how everyone plays Tetris a lot and sees it behind their eyelids. They basically tell you, it's thinking about it, it's like that Mario Tennis trailer. Yes. They explain to you the game in great detail, to the point where it's like, I'm bored now, skip forward. And then when you get to the Tetris thing, it's a giant, like, Jeff Minter hallucinogenic soundscape happening around you.
Yes.
With just happens to be some blocks are falling at some point as well. So
yeah. It just looks incredible. This is something that I would definitely dust off the VR helmet for, to just play this, because I think it will be awesome. It would just be it'll be bonkers in PSVR.
This is the kind of thing that makes me happy I've sold my PSVR, because if this is what they're trotting out on the first day of Christmas, then I'm hoping they're building up to something.
Well, exactly. It only gets better from here. That's what they're doing. They're starting early. So, like I say, we have the Tetris Effect for PS4 and PlayStation VR. It would be really good if this was a PS Plus title. But, so that's that came out today. Tomorrow, we have a release date for an upcoming Worldwide Studios title. So that's PlayStation Worldwide Studios title. Could be, what's their, their Left 4 Dead, their Days Gone?
Yeah, Biker Gang. And
yes. Biker Gang zombie game. It could be that. And then on Friday, they're announcing a brand new PlayStation 4 game. Saturday, they're announcing a new PlayStation VR game. And then on Sunday, they have details of an eagerly anticipated game that comes to PlayStation VR. So even on kind of Sunday, they're trying to steal some of the headlines from Microsoft and bringing out this. Now, I really love this kind of day, something new on the build-up of G3, because I think last year they had a pre-conference, and unless you were kind of getting your PC ready or getting Twitch ready, getting it warmed up, so you were in there, you wouldn't have noticed this. I didn't know until I think because I was watching it live, and I'd finished watching maybe Game of Thrones or whatever it was, and I was like 1 o'clock in the morning, so I turned it on, and there was Sid Schumann and the guys talking and doing this pre-show where they kind of gave away quite a lot of announcements there. So I think because it went down well, but not a lot of people joined in at that point, they're doing this instead. So they're kind of just saying, this is what we're doing. We've got this new announcement every day. And I think this is fantastic. It's a really good build-up.
It's weird that in the year they're doing this is probably the most, I guess, spread out E3 we've had in a long time because of the various leaks that came a couple of weeks ago. Yes. So there is honestly part of me that wonders what is going to happen next week. Why are we having this show? Because everything is announced or done by Monday morning. Like, even Nintendo who are on the Tuesday, aren't there. They're having a treehouse and they're having their feed, and that happens any time at that point. They've broken this cycle already. Yeah. So I think Sony have more probably by good luck and good judgment, managed to fall into the theme of this year's E3 without even knowing it at this point. It's spreading out it's always been the way. Like, it's always been like the press conferences are right for 2 hours. You are the focus, and then the next thing sweeps by, and the next thing sweeps by. So. And we say this every year, like, how long can this last? And actually, it looks like it's disintegrating. You can see it spreading apart, it's just fracturing at this point.
Well, absolutely, because like you say, you've got EA, they're doing their own thing, which is EA Play, and they're doing their own thing for the entire week as well. You know, they're outside. They're going to have something within the E3 show floor. Microsoft are not there because they've got a very small mixer focus booth there, but they're all kind of in next door in the Microsoft Theatre, which is kind of next door. There's a whole experience happening there.
I mean, if you own it, why pay the rent somewhere else? So.
Exactly. It's got your name on it, so why not do it there? And that's great. That's really good if you're public kind of coming to E3, because there's a bigger space for you then to kind of play around with and kind of, especially if you're an Xbox fan as well. So you've got that. Square Enix are doing their own treehouse. They're doing the similar thing where they're dropping a video somewhere over the weekend. So you're right, it's just that the day that we had a couple of years ago where it would start at 6 o'clock with Microsoft on a Monday, and then it would then just be bam, bam, bam. And I love that so much. Now, as a content consumer, that's fantastic. As a publisher, such as Microsoft and PlayStation, your news is very quickly going to the bottom because there's so much. So I can see why they're spreading out. But like I say, it just becomes a week in June where people put stuff up online soon. That's it. Kind of. So I do worry for E3 because one of the things I'd like to I have on my bucket list is to go to E3, and I do worry that time could be running out before it either kind of just gets a rejig or they just stop bothering.
Yeah, I mean, if it just happens all around this time, that's cool. Yeah. And like, if it just happens all around our city, I'm sure some journalists will like it. But even when I was there last year, like, you could see that the most benefit came from, I guess, the invitation events beforehand, where they knew they could have time on this thing, where there was a predetermined slot, because the show floor was as much like Gamescom or as much like EGX as anything. So, I mean, I've been there as the blogger side as well, and so, like, actually, for that tier, that tertiary tier of coverage, that's great to actually be able to get in. But the actual big sites, they don't need this.
No.
Because I've always liked Giant Bomb's coverage, like in the last few years, where they actually, they have things from the floor. They take appointments, they talk to people, and there is then coverage generated from that. But actually, their biggest I hate to use the word their biggest content that they deliver is their evening shows. Yeah. They actually take advantage of all these developers and all these publishers and all these executives being in one city at one time, and they produce this quite laid-back, casual talk show. And that for me is the best content of the year when it comes to covering games, because it's a far more, I say, relaxed. Sometimes people are absolutely hammered or just overly tired because they've been interviewing for like 14 hours straight, but it gives such a different, I guess, angle, different lens on the industry. And if that went, I think it would be disappointing, but I think it's just eventually it's going to be inevitable.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, Sony have the PSX, which is their own thing, which they do kind of normally in November, December time. So it could be more kind of that. But, I agree with you about the Giant Bomb. I mean, Phil Spencer's interview last year, he was just so relaxed and so open and having fun as well. And it's really nice to see Phil kind of being relaxed and open and having fun, because he just really kind of talks very frank, and I just really enjoy listening to Phil Spencer give interviews. But there was something about that Giant Bomb one where he was just he respected the people that were around him, and he was just very kind of laid back and casual. He's probably just been through, I mean, as you know, James, the amount of work that goes in. I was thinking about this morning when I was kind of walking to the station. Right now, the amount of devs that are in crunch to get something for E3 is just incredible. I was just thinking, all these people are just there kind of cutting trailers, making content, building stages, doing all of that, all ready for us just to consume. And I was just, it really humbled me slightly as I was walking to work this morning, because there's just so much stuff that we're just not aware of happening right now. And it's just, and that's why I would love to see E3 to just continue, because it's great. And I know probably as a dev, it's probably the worst thing that you do, that you stop developing your game just to make a vertical slice of a game for an E3 trailer, but at the same time, it's just to get the people who are ultimately going to be playing your game kind of hyped and excited. It's just the amount of stuff that's happening right now is just it fills me with excitement, and I'm excited for all these people ready to show their new content.
Oh, you're just going to be bubbling over with glee then next week, all that new videos, all the new trailers.
Absolutely. I'll be up at 2 o'clock in the morning watching the Sony one. I mean, Sony have already said, haven't they? They've kind of said, right, we're going to be showing some Death Stranding, we're going to be showing some Last of Us 2, so they've already kind of Spider-Man, they've already kind of given their headlines.
It was just the 4, I can't remember the other one, but it was the Japanese one that...
Oh, yes.
I guess. We're doing well tonight, or rather,
we are.
Another game drops out my head. But yeah, there's a nice confidence about that, isn't there? And I guess in the same way that Nintendo have their press conferences pre-taped, like there's a confidence going, like, we are so sure of these things that this is all we need to show you. Like the pre-show can handle the indie trailers, like the pre-show can handle like the bizarre B tier games that will actually a lot of people enjoy, but they're not. They might take away from what we want to show you at this point.
Yes.
But I am also quite happy they are not showing Last of Us. And we just said it a minute ago. What's the biker gang, zombie gang one?
Days Gone.
They last year they just confused the bejesus out of me, because the trailer started. Like, which one is it? Yeah, which one is it?
It's brown, it's scary, and it's gory.
Yeah.
Which one is this?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, absolutely. Like I say, it's quite nice just to kind of see. Like, I can't wait to see Spider-Man. Get some more details on Spider-Man, because I'm super excited about that game. There's going to be. I mean, obviously they're keeping some surprises. Steve and I were talking last week about, obviously we don't want to see any new consoles. We don't want to see any teasers or anything like that. As much as I love the new shiny, save that for next year. Move into next year.
Do you think PlayStation are going to acknowledge it? Because, a couple of weeks ago, they did put out that tweet that saying the PS4 is in the I can't remember the phrase, like the crunch or the squash of its life cycle. I mean, that still means there's 2 or 3 years left, but it's out there. They've said it.
Well, exactly. I mean, the thing with PlayStation is that they have some big games that we've got. Last of Us, we've got Days Gone, we've got those games that they've kind of showed off already. Most of these games, we've got Death Stranding. Is Death Stranding a PS5, PS4 game? Because
it's
I think
a PS6. There's nothing playable.
It's not coming out.
It's people messing around on a green screen with some like ping pong balls stuck to themselves and some mocap. That's all it is.
It's Kojima playing with his friends Norman Reedus and Del Toro.
Do you want to come over? Come on.
Bring Maz. It's fine. But yeah, I mean, I just, obviously, I think whatever generation we go into next, whatever the next console is, they've all learned the lesson. Microsoft and Sony have learned the lesson that they need to be backwards compatible. So, 4 is going to be backwards compatible with 5, and it's going to work. 5 is going to be backwards compatible with 4, even. Yeah. It's going to work that way, So, is these games going to be a kind of a Zelda Twilight Princess where you get Death Stranding on PS4, but it looks shinier on PS5. You know, that sort of, is that what our generational leap is going to be? But I don't think there's even going to be, it should have been one of my predictions, but I don't even think that anyone's even going to talk. You know, even Microsoft a couple of years ago, they went, here's a vignette of Project Scorpio, and we saw that kind of all these people going, it's amazing, it's incredible, you know, and then we'll talk more next year. I don't think we'll get anything like that this year. I think those kind of little teasers will happen next year. And I think I was saying to Steve, I think 2020 is so enticing for a marketer, for the marketing, to say that we've got a new console coming out in 2020. It sounds futuristic, so that's when they'll be heading for that. I think that's so. I don't think we'll hear anything because it's just too soon. Because if you say, "Oh, there's a PlayStation 5," then people might not buy these games that they're now showing off. So it almost kind of demotes their game slightly. So I just think they won't even talk about it right now. So all of that will be coming next year.
Yeah, no, I think especially the way they've very much stated what's going on in their press conference, I would be shocked if they did that. So,
yes, absolutely. Maybe some changes, maybe be able to change your name, maybe a bit of backwards compatibility. That sort of stuff would be really good, you know, rather than double down on the 5 and do all of that there. But I think they're kind of that. That's about it. I think there'll be a little.
Would you change your name if you could?
Only if they release the old ones, because I did have Chessman, but then lost Chessman because of email addresses and things like that. Which is why I'm PS-Chessman. I did actually almost have the sheep triple, the big sheep triple, which is I had for a while on PlayStation. I had Chessman, and then it just got lost,
slipped through your fingers.
I couldn't authenticate, and I couldn't get it was just and I just lost it. So then when I got the PS4, when I fired it up again, I then had to kind of start fresh. So then that was PS-Chessman. So if they similar to Xbox, if they released it, because I used to be Chessman UK on Xbox, and then they released Chessman, and I got that as well. So if they did that, then I would change my name, and I would try and get that down.
Drop of a hat.
Exactly. Because it annoys me that you have all the same across everything. So James, the next piece of news says with you.
Yes, and it is back onto the Switch, and it is confirmation from after all the Pokemon news of last week that to actually play Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee online, you will indeed need a Nintendo Switch Online subscription. I think Nintendo are as much just trying to clarify or just reinforce the messaging that you might be able to play online now for free, but come in the future. This is just I think making sure everyone is aware of what's going on, and they've actually revealed a bit more of what the online modes are going to be in these games, because I think from the trailers I imagined it to be pretty much a port, or at least a reimagining of the first Red and Blue games, but they seem to say that it's, although spiritually in there, it's slightly simplified in terms of online games. So maybe not bringing over the full set from like Diamond and Pearl and Sun and Moon. So they're saying there's still battling and there's still trading, but a lot of the more advanced aspects like the battle spots, online competitions, Wonder Trade, and Grand Tours, all those have been pushed to one side. So it does seem more and more that, and I don't think this is a bad thing, I just want to preemptively say, I think this is almost a slimming down of what Pokemon has become, and I'm not against that, because I enjoyed the first ones, Red and Blue, back in the day, and I think the more they've bolted on, the more I've been perturbed from jumping back in, because I liked the comparative simplicity of that first one, and the older I got, it's like, what? Who are these fancy Pokemon with the weird shapes and the odd names? Get off my lawn.
How'd you pronounce that? What is that?
It's not a real word. It's vowels. So I'm actually quite happy that it's just slimmed down, but it's not a full bells and whistles thing, and it probably is trying to appeal to the likes of myself and people who have been playing, I guess, more Pokemon Go, because if you dear Lord, if you went from Pokemon Go straight into Pokemon Sun and Moon, you'd wonder what had happened. This isn't the nice, quaint, fresh game that I'm just wandering around streets with. There's an awful lot to take on board. So I'm more imagining that this is like a stepping stone to be into the major series itself.
Yes, for them to hit you in 2019 with the full RPG experience.
Yes.
Yeah, so absolutely, I think you're absolutely spot on. Yeah, though I think it's good that they're getting out, because obviously there's probably been a lot of excitement. I noticed that I think I stuck the Pokemon Pikachu and Eevee trailer in the show notes, and when I was doing that, I was looking at the number of times it had been viewed, and it was into double-digit millions. It was just scary how. So I
think they looked at the comments or something and like, this isn't canon.
Yeah, no, I stayed away from that because that would just make you sad. So that's so cool. It's really good that they're kind of getting out and just trying to set that scene, and just saying expectation setting. This is what you need to do, so people don't kind of rage or little Johnny can't play his Pokemon because he needs to have a subscription. But with the family subscriptions and the stuff that they're doing, it's going to be affordable for that kind of online experience.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like maybe it's just reducing the overhead even from producing it. Like rather than producing a whole global trade system, it's like just keep it local. It's fine. So.
Absolutely. Superb. Next piece of news is with me, and this was one that's quite close to my heart, which is Telltale Walking Dead. So we're going to get we've already had an announcement, I think it was last year, that we're going to get the final season of Walking Dead, and we're going to wrap up Clementine's story. So we had some information today that dropped, that Telltale Games said that the final piece, the last piece of the game, will be coming out on the 14th of August. So on the 14th of August on Xbox, PS4, and I think kind of Switch later, we're going to be getting Walking Dead the final season. So Walking Dead the final season is going to be coming out. Like I say, it's going to see the end of Clementine's journey. So Clementine seems to be a lot older from the screenshots and from the trailer. We've got an older Clementine now. So we really have, in season 2, we saw Clementine kind of getting older, and then also in the other one that came out, which was the Left Behind or whatever it was called, you saw Clementine even kind of get aging even more so there, and becoming responsible for AJ, who is a child. So you just kind of really saw her, you kind of witness her kind of growing up. So we're going to see that. We're going to see Clementine as she builds a new life. The press release said, as we build a new life, we'll see those kind of types and consequences. One of the things that I do like about this, because it does kind of hint at maybe that new engine that we've all been crying out for, is that one of the bullet points on the press release was that there is a striking new visual style, and it reads, the all-new graphic black art style rips the ink from the pages of the Eisner Award-winning comic book series and brings the world of Walking Dead to life like never before, supporting 4K resolution and high dynamic range on compatible devices. So all of that makes me very happy,
Do you find it strange that they're actually changing the art style for the final chapter, though? There's something that rings out that seems like you've made it this far. I mean the story rather than the franchise, say. Clementine has made it all the way through, and to actually see her not only a different age, which is fair enough, time goes by, new stories, but to see her in a different style, it almost seems like, if handled poorly, it could be quite jarring, that you feel even more at arm's length from the protagonist. Yeah,
absolutely. I do. I mean, I found that in the one that was between, which was, I'm just Googling it now, The New Frontier. That was it, The New Frontier. They changed the look of the zombies. And it was like the first episode was like, things look a little kind of less comic booky. They're looking a little bit kind of more realistic. So it's kind of an evolution from there, because the Michonne kind of three-parter was kind of very much the old style. And so, yeah, there it is. It's quite interesting that this style that you're getting used to, you're playing with, that suddenly they change. But I've been crying out for a new engine for forever, so I kind of have to take kind of
now.
Exactly. I'll just take it, because I want one that doesn't judder, doesn't crash, allows me to just kind of play without being annoyed. So I'm happy with this, and I'm hoping that maybe we get some more information on the Fables. Fables. I always do that with like Peter Molyneux in my head. Fable. I want to tell you about Fable. So I'm hoping that we get more on Fables as well. But right now, The Walking Dead, 18th of August. I'm looking forward to that, because it's definitely kind of one of those series that I've absolutely loved all the way through.
Yeah. It seems if they're fitting that they're closing it down around the same time as the TV show as well. It feels like the Walking Dead era is coming to an end.
Oh, so is the TV show coming to an end as well now?
I'm extrapolating because I know, was it the lead chap whose name again? I forget. I'm awful tonight.
Rick, isn't it?
I was thinking of the actor.
Yes.
Sorry. I think they've said he said he doesn't want to do another series, so they're. I think the rumours were they were knocking it on the head at that point, because I guess it's been 8-9 series or something ridiculous like that. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it started in 2010, didn't it? 2010 was like the first season. So Andrew Lincoln.
That's the one, yes.
Yes,
Him
right.
from Teachers.
Yes, because I think we stopped watching it kind of like 2 seasons ago after the whole kind of baseball bat scene. We stopped watching it kind of at that point. It just got too Walking Dead. It just got too. It was just too gory. So when the Negan era kind of came in, so we kind of liked their character. I liked the character in the comic book, but it just kind of was a little bit too gratuitous, so it was just kind of got to that point where we're like, oh no, we should stop this now. And it just, so we finished, and it's it's a shame because I was enjoying it, but by the sounds of it, I think a lot of people are kind of the same as well. I think it needs to maybe wrap up.
But that's why I left the graphic novels as well. I think I got into the mid-teens of reading them, and not so much a pattern, but it just lost its edge. I think eventually, and I'm not quite sure where the series got to, but as they started to try and settle down, and it was always like settle down, suspicion, and it's either misplaced suspicion or someone's going to come in and kill them all. And it's just, I felt I've lived enough in this world. I thank you for the stories you have told, but I feel you have told me enough.
Yes, absolutely. So that's it. So Walking Dead's coming 18th of August. We get part 1. I think it's like normally a 4 or 5 part season. But we know that we're getting part 1, and it's 4K and HDR. So James, the last piece of news is with you.
Yes, to close out the podcast, I am talking about some clothing downs, and the first one is Guitar Hero Live. The GHTV, the Guitar Hero Live TV mode, is shutting down, and if anyone remembers, this was basically the one where you could watch premium shows to play along with. So this was the big live fancy dandy real people looking at you. If you're doing well, cheering. If you're not looking so well, they'll frown. So they're pulling those from the premium shop in December. They're also stopping taking any money from people very soon as well. So I think they're going to shut off the purchases in June, but you'll still have time until December to actually download anything that you have already got in the bank. But it also means that I thought the most interesting mode in Guitar Hero is shutting, which was almost the play along to MTV style mode, and I thought that was a really nice way. I never got on with this Guitar Hero's controller. I think it's just, so many years of having the 5 buttons to switch to the 3x3 didn't really work for me, but I really appreciated what they did with that. I don't know what to play, so just turn on their MTV mode and you can just play along with whatever's next, and because the whole world is playing along with it as well, you got to compare your scores with everyone else. So it lasted 3 years, which isn't too bad for a game that didn't set the world alight. It and Rock Band came back possibly a tiny bit too early, because although there was enthusiasm, there wasn't really the public support for putting pounds and dollars behind it all. You'll still be able to play offline, but Guitar Hero TV is shutting down this Christmas. And the other one that is moving on is Evolve. Another interesting concept. I guess interesting doesn't necessarily pay the bills, which is unfortunate. The 4 versus 1, like soldiers versus monster game. They're pulling down the servers for that in September. But they are actually, I think there's support already for local play. So if you have the game already, it's not going to be dead in the water. You will still be able to throw some LAN cables together and play it on a local network. Two interesting experiments from 3-4 years ago, both turning off, sadly.
Yeah, that's really sad. I mean, Evolve was a strange one because I remember playing it at a Microsoft event and I really enjoyed it. I absolutely loved it. There was 5 people around us, so we were all there. The way that they set it up at this Microsoft event, there was the 4 people and then the one was on his own the other side, and it was just so much fun. I played about 3 or 4 games and just really enjoyed myself. I just thought, this game's great. I can't wait to play this online, and then I took it online, and then it was just spoiled by online. It just was spoiled by people playing, and it wasn't like Sea of Thieves where people are cooperating because you have to cooperate. I think the way that you've set that up is that you have to do that, otherwise you could put someone in the brig and they can learn their lesson there. Where Evolve just was like, it'd start, they go, right guys, okay, right, and no one's on mic, and you go, right, and then you look around and they've all just run off in different directions, which doesn't help anyone. So it was that kind of typical online. But it was, like I say, it was an interesting experiment. And at one point, I think we all thought that kind of 4v1 was going to be, I think that was almost like the battle royale of past years. That kind of
because Fables were doing it at the same time, and a couple of others, I'm sure, did it. And it's like as a design concept, as a game mechanic, it's so interesting. You've got so many options to do it, and so many options to play with as you go through. But then, as you say, you have to rely on the internet.
Yes,
and that was the first mistake. But like,
be better, internet. Be better.
We've got a few board games, and we've got friends that have board games that are effectively one versus many, or whether the one is the AI or one is a person. And they at least work, I think, because you're at least with friends.
Yes.
You are there with similarly minded people who want to get involved in this game. I guess like the press event that you went to, where everyone is there to make the most of it. No one is going to be a dick in front of the PR there, just the sake of it. Like, you are trying to get the best experience possible. And, humankind.
Exactly.
Shrug shoulders, waits for extinction.
Exactly. In the same event, I played the Fables thing as well. The Fables Adventures, Fables Legends, or whatever it was called, and enjoyed that as well. It came away going, these 2 things are great. It's the future, and they were like, apart from maybe playing Insomniac's game, the Insomniac game that came out on the Xbox.
It's had lots of cans.
Yes.
Sunset Overdrive.
That was kind of what I came out going.
Can we edit all these out?
I know, yeah. We'll just make us sound really slick in the edit. It will be. So we'll be like, so that game, what was it? Sunset Overdrive. So that was like the highlight of that kind of event that I went to. But the other 2 were like, I like this. I like having this 4v1, and I was quite excited by it. But like I say, I played the betas on both of those, and I was like, no, this isn't going to work. But yeah, though it's a shame that they're shutting down. But like I say, they have to shut down because maybe it's time to evolve that, no pun intended, but to evolve that, bring something else out, get the studios, get the poor IT guys looking after some other cloud-based server instead. So awesome. And with that, we're going to shut down this podcast. See what I did there, James? We're going to shut down this podcast. Big thank you for listening. And James, big thank you for pulling up a mic.
Always a pleasure.
Excellent stuff. Don't forget, you can keep up with us at gamersoflostspark.com. You can also find us on Facebook. On Twitter, we're at LostSparkPod. You can find us on YouTube and also Gamers of the Lost Spark, PS4 Community and Xbox One Club. James, where can people catch up with you?
You can find me as Big Sheep on most devices, but Twitter's probably the best.
Excellent stuff. For me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live and Nintendo Switch, PS-Chessman, soon to be Chessman, on PlayStation Network, Chessman UK on Twitter. Don't forget, if you have any feedback, like Max, you can also send us an email address. You can send us an email, and that email address is... You can send us your email address, and then we'll write to you. You can write back to us. We'll authenticate. We'll apply for the GDPR rules. It's a rigmarole.
Two-factor authentication communication.
You can send it to our email address. That's feedback@gamersoflostspark.com. And you can also, if you're feeling generous, leave us a review on iTunes. Right, it's time for E3, James. Let's wrap up. We'll be back for our E3 coverage. So say goodbye, James.
Bye-bye. To E3! Let's go!